So I'm going to start this. So it's 6 o'clock. I want to welcome everybody to the Rotary Club of Alameda's 100th anniversary and the 2020 New Year's celebration. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. I know it's kind of last minute. It's kind of difficult for us to be able to do anything with COVID going on, but this is a great opportunity. So I wanted to do that. And we have a special guest. Jeremy, tell us about what the Scouts are doing.
Hi, so I'm from Troop 11. Rotary is
Oh,
our
no,
organization.
No, I've got
No.
They've been here for the longest time with us since, and everyone at Rotary is amazing for helping us out. And coming up is our Troops Fundraiser Christmas tree pickup, where we go around Alameda and Bay Farm and we go and pick up Christmas trees and we turn them into multiple products using one of our partners, Juniper Ridge, and then we basically make all these nice soaps and incenses out of them. And it's a ton of fun. I'll post information on Fundraiser and the Zoom chat. If you're interested in checking that out or donating to our troop, that is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. That's wonderful. And good luck with that. And hopefully we will see you around for Scouting for Food next year.
Everyone,
and I believe I see, I want to check just to be sure. There she is, Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn. So I'd like to introduce our mayor. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And if everybody else can make sure that you are on mute so that we don't disturb the mayor. Good evening. Happy New Year, Mayor.
Good evening, Jeff, and good evening, Rotarians. And I will say there's one other Marilyn on here. Hi, because I always say two Marilyns are better than one, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me to this auspicious occasion, the 100th anniversary of the Alameda Rotary chapter. That's incredible. And I also want to thank all of you for not being out celebrating in some big group gathering. So yay for you, because that's how we're going to stay safe in this pandemic. And I want to say a few things now, but you know, Jeff, I was thinking after I got your email just a couple of days ago, the city will do a proclamation for Rotary. So I will get that going. It won't happen the first meeting of January because that agenda is already, you know, out and published and all that. But let's see if we can get it for the second January meeting. But I'll keep you in the loop on that. I've got wonderful staff I work with at City Hall that helps put those things together. So
very good. Great way to start our next 100 years.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and it's really something worth celebrating. And you know, to all of you who are Rotarians, and I did a little, or I think Jeff sent me some good information. You are among 1.2 million members in 200 countries around the world. And when you stop and think about 100 years of doing service to others through fellowship, you and your colleagues and those who preceded you have done a lot of good. And you know, 100 years ago, 1930, the U.S. had just entered the Great Depression in late 1929. Over 1,300 banks failed in the year 1930. The Dust Bowl happened. I mean, it was a grim time. And of course, you fast forward 100 years and we as a country and in fact the world have come through a pretty grim time. I mean, we're still in the midst of COVID-19, but there is light at the end of that tunnel because the vaccines are here, and I know you're all going to get vaccinated the minute you come up in the queue for your particular category. But I thank you so much for all of the good works you have done in our city, in Alameda, over the years. And just looking back recently, you know, you can look around town and just see the good you have done. For instance, I think it's still our newest park, the Gene Sweeney Open Space Park. Rotary put in $100,000 to build that lovely picnic pavilion, which was very well used and enjoyed and will be again. Right now, you know, we've had to close off gathering places in public spaces like parks, but we'll be opening up again sometime in 2021 for in-person gatherings. I know we will, but you did that, and it is lovely. And then the concerts at the Cove, which are just always so much fun, and I always enjoy them, and love seeing whatever Hawaiian shirt Jeff is wearing at that particular event. But you took that over when the city no longer had funds to do it, but you have used that to raise funds that you then use to support nonprofits throughout the city. And so your investment just, it's like throwing a pebble in a pond, and it creates one circle and it enlarges to a bigger circle. And you've just done so much good. You think about you support Alameda Education Foundation, and they've really worked hard in this last school year to support students who are learning in very different circumstances with distance learning. You have supported scholarships for years for students from our local high schools, and there's really no higher thing that you can do, more important thing. Well, there's a lot of important things that you can do, but when you invest in a young person's education, that just is an investment that comes back with rewards many times over. And we heard from Jeremy Harris from Troop 11. Hello, I'm the mother, proud mother of an Eagle Scout from a different troop, but still, scouting is great. And last year, in fact, I was looking at some photos, and I participated in Scouting for Food last year, and it's just a wonderful effort which supports our local food bank. And I know, because Rotary's been supporting the food bank through this pandemic, that that their demand for services for food increased 18-fold since the pandemic began, and the Alameda Food Bank has been able to meet the need. I don't know how they do it, but they just keep serving food and meals and groceries to make sure that no one is going hungry in our city. And most recently, I'm very grateful that Rotary said yes when I came through with an ask to help support both our local businesses to keep them in business while they can only open for takeout and delivery. I hope you all are going to enjoy a nice takeout New Year's Eve dinner from one of our local restaurants later today. I am. But what we are doing as a city is we are engaging our restaurants to we're buying meals from them that we are then delivering to our Midway Shelter, to our Dine and Connect weekly dinners for our homeless individuals, to folks living in the FEMA trailers, living out in the Project Room Key hotel at the Marina Village Inn, staying overnight in our safe parking area at Alameda Point, and more, but just giving people nice, nourishing meals that we are then paying our restaurants $25 per meal, which is an amount that we worked out with the restaurants, which would be reasonable compensation for them to just help keep them afloat until they can do more, offer outdoor dining again, and then eventually indoor dining. So thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and agreeing to help sponsor that program. So for all the good work you've done, you should pat yourselves on the back. I know you don't rest on your laurels for long. You're already there. You go. Thank you. You're already on to your next projects. But thank you so much for all the good you've done in our community and around the world. And I think when we look back at how we came through this pandemic, it will be by working together, by making sure that we're lifting up our most vulnerable residents, because we know that while we're all in this together, we haven't all been impacted equally. But I just want to give a shout out to our fabulous city too, because I study the statistics compulsively, the dashboard that Alameda County Public Health Department puts out. We are in the county of the 14 cities in Alameda County and the unincorporated areas like Castro Valley and San Lorenzo and those areas, we have the third lowest per capita COVID rates in our county. And we have also in our nursing homes, and I mean, our nursing homes in Alameda would be part of that count. I am very gratified and relieved to report that we have only had one death in a nursing home. That's obviously one death too many, but since the beginning of this pandemic, and very low numbers of COVID cases among staff and residents of our nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And that's because we have a community that cares, that pays attention, that understands that we do things. Sometimes we have to curtail our own personal freedoms a little bit to protect not only ourselves but others. But Alamedans have risen to the occasion, and we're going to get past COVID. We're going to have it in the rearview mirror, because I know you're all going to help make sure that we get everyone vaccinated too. But thank you so much for 100 years of wonderful work, and I look forward to the next 100. So thank you again for inviting me, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you, and I'll look forward to
applause to you.
inviting you. I look forward to inviting you to be our mistress of ceremonies at the July concerts at the Cove in person in Crab Cove.
Ooh, July, I'll calendar it. Yes, and we'll talk more about this proclamation.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let me get back to the right view. All right, I think we're back, right? Okay, so I have a little PowerPoint presentation that I have put together that I'm hoping is going to work. So if the technology actually works out, I'm going to share my screen. And keep your fingers crossed that this works. All right. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? All right, thank you. And I think we play from start. Okay, so welcome to our 100th anniversary celebration. And I got a chance to do a little bit of research, thanks to the Alameda Museum for their archive capabilities that they have. We have given them out $500 for the last 2 years in order to be able to digitize all of the thousands and thousands of records. And just as a fluke, when Myrna was speaking about how they were doing it, she actually brought up the picture on the left along with a newspaper clipping. And this was a Scotch party that we at Rotary sponsored in 1921. So our club actually was formed May 1st, 1920. And at that time, Rotary International had 150,000 members located in 45 countries. And as Marilyn was mentioning, there's 1.2 million of us right now. So what I wanted to bring this up because we also, if you can see on the right-hand side, there was a remarkable similar picture in 2020 where we had one of our Friday fellowships. And I just wanted to, I think, emphasize that while we are known for our service to the community, we are doing that. We also have relationships and bonds with each other that last well beyond our service. And I think George down in Mexico is a great example. He's a Rotarian, a past president, and he still joined us tonight. So I think fellowship is extremely important for that. Moving on, I'm going to go through just as a reminder of some of the things that we have accomplished over these many years. First of which is our community grants. And Marilyn did a very nice job of describing those. In 2019, we gave out $17,000 to 23 community organizations. This year, we were not able to have concerts at the Cove, but through the, I guess, the foresight of a number of Rotarians that created our foundation, we were able to have $15,000 available to give out to 16 different nonprofits. Also, scholarships, very, very important, and investing in our youth. So on the 28th, we gave out a huge chunk of money to a bunch of our graduating seniors, and we will be doing that again this year. That committee is going to be forming in February, and we will be looking at giving out grants again this year, or scholarships this year, pardon me. And I think I'd like to mention that our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee will be more involved with part of that this year, so that when scholarships are given out, there will be some thought to the equity issues that we're all facing now in this country. As Marilyn mentioned, Concerts at the Cove, we took it over in 2012. And initially it was with the idea that we were not going to make any money. I was on the board of a business association at the time. And so when this came up that they were not going to be able to sponsor it, I came back to the Rotary board and said, we need to do this. And we need to do this because it is a service to our community. It was a free concert that brought many people, especially people from the West End, together for 3 wonderful concerts. As it turns out, it has become a signature event for Rotary and funds our community grants. We've had a lot of great time. And yes, Marilyn, I enjoy debuting a new Hawaiian shirt each time I go up there. In 2019, just to make note, that was the 20th year of Concerts at the Cove. And already we talked about the pavilion out at Gene Sweeney Park. And for those of you that don't know, Gene was an active member of Rotary, primarily in youth services. And Paul was a Paul Harris Fellow, which meant that she had donated over $1,000 to Rotary International for international projects. Jean's big claim to fame was she was the Sherlock Holmes that discovered a contract between the railroad and the city that allowed the city to purchase this property for basically what they sold. See, Marilyn, maybe you can help me exactly with how this worked.
For the price that it would have been assessed back in the, was it the 1930s? But it was $1 million essentially for all those acres.
Yeah, for what, 22 acres for $1 million. And the cost of litigation to make sure we could still have it, of course.
It did not make Union Pacific happy, but we won in court, and yes, Jean made an amazing discovery.
Absolutely, and appropriately named the open space after her, so that's great. So Rotary stepped up and over 5 years put $20,000 per year into that in order to be able to pay the $100,000 that we're able, and now we all get to enjoy it. Also, we now once a month, thanks to Dr. Gardner, we'll show up there and do a little weeding when the requirements allowed to maintain the area. As long as we can all bend down and then get back up again after that half hour. I know I was having a hard time. Steve Kent drew my attention to the fact that we, way back in the 80s, were responsible for building a classroom at Crab Cove. And you can see that little plaque on the right-hand side, which I actually went down and saw one day, but it didn't give us much detail. But thanks to Steve's archiving, there is an article that talks about how we made that made it a reality, and that it was opened on the 4th of July. And it's actually still standing. One of the programs that Deb Knowles, a former president, initiated was Equip for Success. And that was adopting classrooms through Alameda Education Foundation. We have had a great collaboration with them over the years. And this year, especially for community grants, they switched this program up just a little bit, and it's now a grant program where individual teachers can apply to AEF for specific amounts of money for specific needs. And in talking to them, again, with the idea of looking through these kinds of grants with the lens of equity, I asked if the money that we granted to them would be able to go to teachers that were teaching in schools that maybe couldn't always have the big PTA fundraiser. And so the $2,000 that we were able to give to them will go directly to those teachers. So one of the fun projects that we did was to assemble a bunch of colored chalk, and you can see Gail down there with Ellie. And we had 6 Rotarians, each take 25 of each of these colors, put them all up into a plastic bag. And then we published out in social media, if you want a bag of chalk, you just let us know. And so we assembled these all together, and our assessor, Alameda County Assessor Fong La, and a couple of other Rotarians actually did all of the deliveries to residents here in Alameda. And then occasionally we will post some of the artwork that was out there. This happened, I think we were in April or May, when we were really in the throes of COVID right now, and people were very desperate for anything to do. So I think there were a lot of parents that were happy that there was some chalk provided by Rotary. And unfortunately, we were not able to do scouting for food this year, but this has been a long-standing tradition between Rotary and Troop 11. And Marilyn, you were there. Thanks very much. You can see, I see you over there on the left-hand side. And this was a great project for all of us Rotarians to get together and do some good for the community and with the food bank. Hopefully we'll be doing that again next November. And back in 2014, Hadi Monsef, who was a Rotarian for many, many years, and not just active within our group, but also with almost every other nonprofit within the city. And he was a district governor back in the 80s. He passed away, and in 2016, if I get my dates right, we did a special grant in his honor. That was $15,000, and that was used to buy a walk-in refrigerator freezer for the food bank so that they would be able to store all of the turkeys. They had one that was overloaded and kind of old and tired. And so we got them the brand new one, and there was a little lunch, and we did a christening, and here's some of our old Rotarians. You can probably see a lot of friends now. And this will come back in another frame later on. If I can get this to move. Okay, so in piggybacking onto the idea of the grant that we gave for Hadi, it was really meant to be a legacy grant, or in this case, a legacy grant that would remember all the other Rotarians that had been part of our club and community and contributed to the city, but had passed on. And so this year we established a legacy scholarship. We had the opportunity, in working with the College of Alameda, to do a full tuition scholarship for a 2-year program. And that 2-year program can either be in an AA that will advance you onto a 4-year degree, or it can be one of their certificated programs. They have textiles and fashion design, and also in aviation. And once again, we will be collaborating with them to do the initial screening of the applications, but we will get, I think they're going to send us 3, and we'll be able to look at those 3, understand the stories of each of these 3 individuals. And I had asked that when they're doing the screening, that we look at it so that we could accomplish in furthering equity and justice principles in education here in the city. So we pictured Jean and Hadi, but this is for all of our Rotarians that are no longer with us. Finally, in our newest project was Midway Shelter. And the way that this started was Midway put in a letter to the editor that they were short on dinner donors, and they relied on members from the community to provide dinners for the 20 to 25 women and children that are suffering from domestic abuse. And so we got together and initially got a fund and just delivered the meals, but this one-off didn't seem to work too well. So we partnered with our friends over at Kiwanis and did what we called a fail-safe fundraiser. And we had set a goal of $1,500. We collaborated with the city residents of the city, not the city of Alameda per se, and wound up raising $3,050. That came from Rotarians, it came from Kiwanians, and it came from members of our community. So I'm looking in 2021 to involve more members of the community in our efforts and partner and create collaborations with all of them. So that was the fail-safe fund. But also in talking to the people at Midway, I thought it would be appropriate for us to step up and to do a once a month commitment. And so we picked the third Thursday of the month. And so Rotary and Kiwanis will alternate from month to month. And of course, we picked out the third Thursday, and it happened to be for Rotary's turn to be Thanksgiving. And initially the thought was, okay, we're going to raise money like we always do, and then go buy the dinners and bring them in. And I just said, you know, we are a fellowship organization in addition to a service organization. And it's difficult for us all to get together in person for any kind of fellowship. But I got on the phone and Knock, a new member and co-chair, got on the phone, and you can just see some of the people that had helped out. There's Alice and Karen, actually two Karens, and Marilyn. You see yourself out there in the mix? Marilyn Stonehouse, that's you right there. Yes, thank you so much for that. So this will be an ongoing project between Rotary and Kiwanis to help members of our community that are definitely in need. And I think that was the last slide. If I can get it. Oh, no, there's one more. Just to make sure you know that we are a fun group in addition to a service and fellowship group. This picture was taken, I think, 2 years ago on what we call Hawaiian Shirt Day. And if you did not wear a Hawaiian shirt during the meeting, you had to pay a double fine. The nice part about this is that everybody wore Hawaiian shirts, and we still made a lot of money for scholarships anyway. So I want to thank all of our members, because I believe this is the last one now. Yep. And can I figure out how to get back? Give me 1 second to see if I can figure out how to get back. And stop share. Okay, are we back now?
You're back.
All right, great, fantastic. Thanks, everybody. So that was a little bit of our history. I'm going to be working with the Alameda Museum. There are a number of other scrapbooks and things that they have that kind of keep up with what our history was for that time. And I will include those, and we'll have more plates, and you'll be able to see those on the website. And what I'd like to do, if we can, and I can get this different view, gallery view. Yes, we have a great group here. Thanks, everybody. So if anybody would like to volunteer a single word, a single positive word, hopefully, for 2020, not 2021, because we have a lot of things to look forward to in 2021. But if there's something you would like to say about 2020 in a single word, I can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. And all right, somebody, don't make me call it. Will Thomas, thank you.
The one word I think of when I think of 2020 is love. I think it caused a lot of us to truly appreciate where we're at and what we have, and also those around us, and helped us to build deeper relationships in terms of our loved ones. So love is a big word and a big theme that as I look back, I hold on to for this year. And just want to say thank you all for coming out and joining us this evening. So it's good to see everybody, and look forward to seeing everybody moving forward. So thank you.
Excellent. All right, Vanessa, do you have a word?
Yeah, my word is collaboration. I think that the businesses and the nonprofits and the government entities and the people of Alameda have done an amazing job in responding to what has been an unprecedented year on many fronts. And I'm happy to see everyone tonight. Happy New Year.
Great, nice to see you as well. Happy New Year. And Bill Del Porto?
How about Zoom? Otherwise I'd be sitting here by myself all night.
Yes, excellent. Yes, a very good one for sure. Anybody else that would like to have a word? George. George, and then, so Alice, you'll be next, but I saw George's hand first. George, go ahead.
4 quick words: keep making a difference.
All right, excellent, yes. And Alice? You have to unmute.
Okay. Inspiring. Inspiring for all the people who help us through this, and inspired by the heroes and people's hard work.
Super. And Mr. Conley, is that you? Are you swatting flies or are you getting my attention?
No, I'm getting your attention.
Because you got to hit me on the head.
Yeah, bang. I just wanted to thank you personally for doing one hell of a job during a very difficult year in Rotary. I mean, I don't think many people could have pulled that off, and you did. You were spectacular, and we thank you. And I've been around for a lot of years, so I know what I'm talking about. Keep it up.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And just of note, Joe, how long have you been a Rotarian?
61 years plus in this club when it was a bunch of old men.
And I asked you what were one of the highlights of your time in Rotary, and do you remember what you said?
No. Well, one of my interests was scholarship, as Jim Stonehouse knows, and from day one, I got involved in that, and I'm involved in it for, 50 some odd years. And that was that's what I took away from it, the working with young people and making sure that they got what they deserved. And I love what you're doing right now on that legacy scholarship. That's very meaningful, and I tried it years ago, but never got it to stick. So.
Joe was instrumental in setting up the foundation as well, weren't you, Joe?
Yeah. I've been there so long, I forgot what I did.
Well, actually, yes, that foundation proved to be so necessary and meaningful for this year for concerts at the Cove.
Yeah, it gives you the ability to stabilize. When you change your administration every year and you don't have continuity with the funds, that gets to be tough. And the foundation gave us that stability to move forward. Yeah,
absolutely.
Get to a year like this. I mean, gee whiz, nobody thought this year would ever come along.
No, contingency. Yeah. So, Joe, one of the other things that you had mentioned, though, was the year that they allowed women into Rotary.
Yeah, that was, well, there were people that dropped out of our club at that time. Now, I've always, even in my business, I put women into positions that nobody else was doing. So it was easy for me to, adjust to that. But boy, there were some old dinosaurs that no way.
He really loves women.
I think we lost 4 Rotarians over that. four out of 75. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, but we did lose some. So
right, yes, and we do have to progress, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it was a great opportunity that time, and we will be working in 2021 collaborations with the Asian Pacific Islander group and enter the local Interact Club, which were the women that were not allowed into Rotary at that time that formed their own interwheel club.
Interwheel, ta-da! Yeah, that's us.
Agency, yes, and we will be working much more collaborative with you as well in 2021.
Good.
So with that said, does everybody have their bottle of champagne?
I have my glass.
Well,
Roger, yeah.
before we sign off, if there's does anybody else have a word they want to say?
I have a word.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
My word is pivot, and I'm going to say that I think most of us never use that word often, but pivot has actually been the ask to all of us to pivot and move forward.
Very much so. Yes. You know, and my word was opportunity for the year, because I would have never learned Zoom if there wasn't this opportunity. And I think all of the things that have pushed my envelope and also pushed my buttons on technology and failed technology. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to come out of this at least with a technology understanding of a 6-year-old.
That's great.
So with that, we're going to go ahead,
I
George.
wanted to say hello to Vincent Wu.
Michelle,
Want me to go?
Michelle.
Very good.
I just have I've shared with you that my daughter is a hospice nurse and has COVID patients. And the good news is she got vaccinated Monday.
Yay.
Yay.
It's working. It's working.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great.
Jeff, if I was able to chime in with a word, I would
Yes.
use the word Rotary. And the reason I would use the word Rotary is you think about, with everything going on, Rotary gave us a chance to still have fellowship, yet different, still have an opportunity to provide service and do good in the world. And I just think Rotary is such a part of all our lives. It actually was even more brought into focus this year. And appropriately, it's your 100th anniversary.
Heck of a way to commemorate it. So with that said, I'm going to
Twist the bottle.
Good job. Happy New Year.
and wish everybody a wonderful and joyous, safe new year.
Yes.
And we'll see you in 2021.
Healthy.
Thank you again. Jeremy, thank you for attending tonight. Marilyn, thank you so much for the kind words and for staying with us.
Oh, thank you all. This was a delightful and yes, just lovely to be with all of you. So take care and stay safe, everyone. And
Happy New Year.
see you next year, right?
Ta-da.
Yes.
Happy New
I guess
Year.
it's next year in Australia, right?
President Roger.
Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year, you guys. Take care.
Can I make an announcement, President Jeff?
Hello, Vincent.
I've just about hit the end of the meeting, Vincent. You know something? So is this a commercial?
This is an infomercial.
Because you know, Jeremy already announced the tree
pickups. Yes.
collection.
I also want to request that if anybody would like to help the Boy Scouts picking up trees on that weekend of January the 9th, please let me know. We need drivers. We can supply the trucks or U-Haul, whatever needed. We will be able to supply and rent one for you if you're willing to drive.
Okay.
And also, don't forget to buy those tree tickets with the door hangers on your house door. Please buy those tickets and help the Boy Scouts to raise the funds for a successful 2021.
All right, wonderful. You know something, I would be negligent. I am sitting, completely slipped my mind. Council Member Spencer. Hello, congratulations on your victory. And we will look forward to seeing you in 2021, not just on the dais, but at a Rotary meeting.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Canberra. And honestly, I don't know if I was a little bit late. I was taking a marvelous walk. I hope you all watched the last sunset of 2020. I'm ready to watch the sunrise tomorrow, but I want to make sure that Sharon got introduced. Did you already introduce Sharon Gardner?
Oh, sure.
It's important to recognize her, right? Because she's that inner wheel.
Right.
I mean, so it says Nancy.
Oh, you need Sharon Gardner. Sharon Gardner is our president.
Yeah, Sharon Gardner. Yes, Sharon. I'm sorry. Yes, Sharon. Sharon and I have talked extensively about inner wheel.
Right. Thank you, Jeff.
There
But
she is.
my word would be appreciation. Thank you for all of the inner wheel that joined us tonight. I think that I've got almost half of our group here. I am
Good job.
honored to see them, and we're delighted to be working with you. And hopefully our group will be able to continue to appreciate the wonderful work that you are doing and support Rotary. Thank you and Happy New Year. Love to all.
Excellent.
Happy New Year, Sharon.
All right, you can count on that. And now I'm going to go give away champagne. All right. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Jeff.